First-time home buyers, home sellers, homeowners, anybody out there who's interested in real estate, listen up. Real estate is not your golden ticket out of poverty. Real estate is not going to be the vehicle that carries you and your family and your future generations into massive wealth. The idea that your house or any house is a solid and safe investment is no longer true and probably will not be true for the next few years. This last 13, 14 years has built a lot of bad habits, not only financial bad habits, but bad habits about how we view housing. First, let's establish what that idea is. Real estate is a solid and safe investment that you cannot lose on. For starters, why do people believe that? Guys, it's been a bull market for the past 14 years. And the reason why it's been a bull market is because we've been in a recovering market. Now, I could show you the Fred data, but the average sales price really just doesn't do it justice. What I'll do instead is I'll show you average sales price of Phoenix. Phoenix is an area where I happen to serve and help home buyers and sellers buy. But the reason why I'm showing this to you honestly is because I have the most accurate data for it, okay? But you're welcome to look up just average sales price in your city to kind of see some similar numbers here. But we can see here that obviously the 2008 crash happened and housing prices went from 320 to like 127. Massive, terrible crash. And it took about, let's say, 8 years, 2012, no, 6 years probably, for it to kind of get back to where it was before. So in this recovery period, we saw a lot of geniuses. And by geniuses, I mean people who bought a house. Really, that's all you needed. There was a lot of programs out there that are down payment assistance. There was all kind of programs out there that just basically gave money to you to just go buy a house, please. And what happened is, let's say here, someone was like December 2012 for 170. Well, if they sold that house 6 years later, they can sell that for 320. And make $200,000 cash. And if they're married up, like there's a certain amount of like laws and whatnot with what they can charge you tax for and whatnot. But in certain situations, those $200,000 is pure untaxable cash that goes into it. Like, that's insane, right? Like, the monthly payment was probably like less than $1,000. And all they needed to do was to hold on to it for 6 years. And they're geniuses. The quote of everybody's a genius in the bull market is like on steroids when it comes to real estate over the last 14 years, right? Not only are you a genius, you're a savior, you're a god, you are a money god if you were to own a piece of property. But this brought up a lot of hyenas out there too, right? The fix and flippers, the HCTV, the investor Chad daddies and Chad mommies that are out there doing all kinds of, investment seminars about how to make tons of money in real estate and do this, that, or the other and fix and flip your grandma's house into all this money, right? It was wholesaling and all these people that came out here to really feed on the dreams of people. But, everybody was just so obsessed with this idea that a house is the perfect investment and there's no way it could lose. 7 to 10% of equity guaranteed and all this like crazy stuff. But really, I know a lot of people love to blame, the cash buyers, the corporate cash, landlords that bought a bunch of properties during COVID. I know a lot of people like to blame the out-of-state buyers that came in and inflated prices. A lot of people like to blame the government. And all this blame goes around for what's going on. But dare I say, what if we were kind of like sowing the seeds of our demise by promoting this idea that your house is a really, really good investment and it's gonna be this tool to make you so much more money and fix and flip and wholesaling and all this other stuff. If we were just to see houses as houses, not these tools that we can sell every 3 to 4 years to make a bunch of money, would we maybe have not gone into this thing? Because I think here's a few habits that we've developed. Because guys, I don't know what to tell you. Like I'm just a big dummy here on YouTube. So salt my words, grain of salt or whatever with my words. But I don't know if 5 to 10% of equity growing a year is natural. I don't think it's normal. So I don't know. But I feel like it's really built some bad habits for people that are out there that maybe are still either looking to buy or maybe they're just in the real estate space. And here's some bad habits I think it's created. I think this idea that real estate is like the most safest and solid investment in the world is not true. Honestly, I want you to tell yourself this. If you're out there looking to buy, or you have bought in the last year, or you're looking to buy the next year or two, tell yourself, what happens if I don't gain any equity? What happens if I don't gain any value in the next year or two? What happens if even I take a little hit? Like my $400,000 house might be worth $350,000 in the next year or two. That is a terrifying thought. But tell yourself that now and just see what happens to your reaction. Where does your brain take you? If there's a part of you that says, well, we shouldn't buy them, then dare I say your why is not strong enough. If you're buying for the reason for the house to be an investment, then it is not your time to buy, because we need to get a time machine and go back 10 years in order for us to do that, because you can only count the dots going backward, right, of when it was a perfect time to buy. So if you're in that ship and you're trying to, be one of those investor Chad mommies and daddies, then it's not your time. Right. Another bad habit it's developed is this idea that we're going to be moving up. I got some flack, I should say, from one of my previous videos. I'd said this idea of a starter home, if you really think about it, it's an idea presented by people who are selling you houses, right? Oh, it's just a starter home. You can move up in 3 or 4 years once you've outgrown it or something, right? And I told people, hey, what if we stop calling it starter homes and we call it more long-term houses? What if you don't have to buy a house to only live in it for 2 years? You buy it to live in it for 5 or 10 years. What if that, right? Like this idea of a starter home is something that's thrown at you so you feel comfortable. Oh, well, I'm just going to live in this house for 2 years and I'll buy and sell another one, based off an industry that benefits from you selling and buying every 2 or 3 years, right? We, because I'm a real estate agent too, want you to be doing this every 2 years, because then that's like a check every 2 years. But honestly, at the end of the day, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So the bad habit that was created is you think about your houses in short-term intervals. You're looking at it in 2 to 3 years. Oh, we'll do this, we'll do that. And I am as guilty of this as well myself. This is why I'm here, trying to not only change my mindset, but help you guys kind of adjust your mindset. So really, it should be more a long-term investment. The house you're looking at, it should be, is this going to serve me and my core, my family, my friends, or whoever's living with you for the next decade, right? Think about that. Is it going to serve me for the next decade? And the last habit I think that it's created is there is this anxiety that comes to mind when you think about your house losing value. Kind of ties with the first point, but really this is the biggest thing that is concerning. And honestly, this is such a big concern and anxiety that it's fueling a massive amount of views on YouTube right now. There's literal channels, just the sole intention of farming viewers about housing market news, housing market crash, housing market's bursting, housing market bubble burst. You name it. There's all these terms. Shoot, I'm even guilty of that. I make a pretty sensational video once in a while. But that's the thing. This industry is out there to base your fear of the values going down. Now, I get some of you guys are following the news because you guys are waiting for prices to drop for you to buy. I totally get that. But I'm talking more for the people that are going to be buying regardless of what's going on with the market. And you have this bad habit of just checking your value every week or every month. Like you buy your house and you're just like, it's like a few shares of a stock and you're checking your freaking stock like every hour. You're going to drive yourself crazy. But if you go back to the principles I told you, the first, bad habit, the second habit, if you're buying long term, does it really matter what happens every month to month? Does it really matter if you lose some value within a year or two? Like really think about it. If you're buying long term and you hold on, maybe you don't have to sell it in 10, 12 years. You can hold on to it still somehow. Is it really going to affect you in a negative way? And the last one I got for you, if I said the last one was the last one, I lied. I just remember the last one. You only view your house as a vehicle, like an investment tool. Your house are sticks, stones, doors, wood, metal, whatever your house is. It is shelter. It is shelter that you live in, that you own. The difference between a homeowner and a home renter is not that one is a savvy investor that's making a ton of money and one is a big old dummy that doesn't have the balls to invest. No. The difference is one has the means and a strong belief in wanting to own where they live. The reason why they're renting is A, they don't have the means to do it because of the area they live in or their financial situation, or B, they just don't really care about owning where they live. And both of them is okay. Because if we're looking at our house and we're saying, hey, we might lose value on this house. It's not guaranteed to actually even make me any kind of money. So it's not really like a solid investment. Renting probably is the same monthly payment and is probably less liability and risk to me. But when you say those things and you really let them sink in, your why has to be stronger than this. Your why has to be so strong that you can have a housing market guy telling you you're so dumb, you're an idiot for buying a house right now. And you're just like, yeah, but X reason. And maybe it's hard for some of you guys to believe, but there are people out there that just have that why. Now, of course, a why isn't going to make you actually budget correctly. And I say this as universal rules, guys. There's one person that was like, it's like, I shouldn't be saying it, and it's flexible with each city. Do your own research depending on your own budget and your own city. But just general rules of thumb, like 20-30% of your net income. Make sure that you have your emergency funds. I say this every video. I hope you guys can repeat this by memory. Emergency fund set up first, retirement fund began, then your housing fund separate. Just buying a house the smart way, right? Obviously, other than just having a strong why, because you can't just go talk to a lender and when they're pre-qualifying you, like, okay, so tell me about your assets and your income. I don't have it, but I have a strong why. But anyways, what do you guys think? Do you agree or disagree with the idea of a housing being an investment? And do you kind of agree with me that this idea of a housing being an investment really was starting sowing the seeds to this massive increase of values and all this stuff and all that, whatever. So anyways, hope you guys are enjoying your end of the year. I hope you guys are having a great time. I certainly am right now. I am reading a lot of One Piece right now, so I'm like in chapter 900, starting the Wano arc. For anyone who's familiar with One Piece, that's exciting. WoW Classic is really good right now, so I recommend playing that. My baby's 6 months and she's saying bye now, so all exciting things are happening here in my life. So hope you guys are having a good one, and I'll talk to you guys soon.